What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another DC Heroes and Villains video. Alright guys, this time I want to talk about all the debuffs and buffs in the game and what each of them mean and what you want to look for and how to activate them. Plus, what do they do, right? That's a lot of questions people are asking because there is no description, unfortunately, for each of these buffs. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, some of them are not. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to jump into the game and we're going to actually try to do some of these debuffs and buffs on ourselves and opponents. And I'm going to read you guys some of the descriptions and talk about which ones you really want to focus on your team and which ones you want to use as often as possible in the battle. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the newest stage here, which is going to be 39251 in terms of buffs and debuffs on the opponents. And you guys will read it out loud so you guys can understand them and how they work and how you want to apply them on your team whenever you battle these opponents. Okay, so first thing we're going to try to do is build up. So you can see here right away, if you click on that, scroll down, you can see here that he has so these are the buffs that he has, status effects, okay? So he has a taunt, enemies must prioritize targeting character with taunt. So he has 2 turns there. Immune cannot receive any debuffs for 2 turns and heal over time. This icon here heals 5% of max HP each turn, okay? So that's what that is. So make sure, guys, if you want to know what each of these are, you guys can look at it right here and see the status effects, all right? Now, let's go ahead and build up Riddler and build up Raven, and you guys can see some more status effects, including Poison Ivy as well, right? So let's go ahead and do this, and I'll show you the buff from Flash as well as soon as that pops. Let's go ahead and build these up. So I'm not looking here to win this battle. I'm just here to show you guys what each of these debuffs will do and how you want to prioritize them in your own team, okay? So it's really important when you're building good synergies to look at that. So first thing we'll do is we'll just maximize hers. So we'll go ahead and do Riddler first. You can see here his special turned this one into a special token, which is a horizontal one, so which means it'll take the tile here and here and it'll pop it up if you press it, okay? Or you can match it, whichever way you decide. There's also a vertical one that goes up and down. Now, if you look at the actual opponents now, hold down their button, you can see here lethargy and red damage down. So what this means is lethargy essentially is power gauge fills 33% slower for 5 turns. It's an insane debuff, especially in PvP and against bosses. It's a fantastic move to have. So lethargy is huge for taking advantage of your opponent's power gauge, okay? Red damage down, red damage is decreased by 25%, which means every time they do a red damage move to your greens take less damage by 25%, which actually nullifies the factional bonus or the color bonus completely. So it's really important to have that when you're running a full red team. Now let's go ahead and do Ravens. Okay, now you guys can see what Raven does. Right now, this opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4 debuffs. Defense down. Defense has been decreased by 40%. Now, every attack you do on this unit, they take 40% more damage. And then anti-heal cannot be healed, period. So if they have a healer on the team, or somebody's running Enchantress, somebody's running Poison Ivy, or Ultimate... what was the gorilla's name? I forgot his name. Ultimate Metaform, I think it was something like that. I forgot his name. They won't be able to heal, okay? So this is a very important one as well. Now, let's go ahead and do Flash, and you guys can see the buff now. Now, everybody got this buff underneath. You can see the little running man. Haste is super important. So it's the actual opposite effect of lethargy. Haste actually fills your power gauge by 33% faster. So it's so important to have someone like Flash on your team because what you're trying to do constantly is build your power gauge as quick as you possibly can in order to do more combos. You see here everyone's getting up. Now let's do this one. I can see here all of a sudden he's got that taunt icon again, right? And there it is, taunt for 2 turns. All right, now let's go ahead and do Poison Ivy. We'll target this guy here so he doesn't die, but there's the heal. Someone else got healed. And if you look here, the little bleed mark damaged the character by 5% of its max HP each turn, ignoring barrier. So very important against bosses, guys. Damage over time will do max damage based on the opponent's HP every turn, and then it ignores the barrier. So if somebody is a barrier heavy, like lightning, or if you do like Blue Beetle, for example, they're barrier heavy. You can avoid that by having some dots in place. Katana is another really good one that does damage with people with dots, and as well as Cheshire. Right, Cheshire does more damage with people who have dots. So great combination of units to have together. So there's an example, guys, real quick. I want to show you of some of the dots. Now we're gonna go back and do another battle here, and I'm gonna show you guys some actual buffs. So we'll use Amanda Waller. We'll use a couple other units here that have really good buffs like Blue Beetle, and I'm gonna show you guys the difference between some of these buffs and why they're worth having. So right away I can tell you from the get-go, Riddler is, with lethargy, is a necessity for endgame stuff, and the fact that he controls the board, I've already talked about him many times. Dot by Poison Ivy and being actually a good damage dealer at the same time is a really good unit to have as well. You can see here Taunt becomes almost a necessity as well for a lot of single target bosses like Superman, for example. You want to have Taunt. You don't want him just jumping around and killing everybody. Having a controlled environment with Taunt is an essential way to defeat opponents. And then having defense down to make you hit harder. And then, of course, having haste to make you fill the gauge faster. Now, the reason why Flash works so well with Riddler is because obviously Riddler does lethargy, making them gain slower power gauges while giving you the opportunity to build faster. Now here's another one, Lockdown. Okay, Lockdown's a good one. Cannot activate power moves. Now this one's a really good one. Now a lot of units that are 4 stars have this. Lockdown is critical for PvP and sometimes PvE, honestly, against some bosses. So having Lockdown as a debuff is really great as well too. So don't sleep on that debuff. It does last quite a few turns. I think it's 2 turns, yeah, and that's, I mean, more than enough time to stop somebody from getting a heal off or stopping somebody from doing a special to one-shot your opponents, right? So really important, guys, to note that. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. All right, guys, welcome back. So now that we've done a couple of the debuffs and buffs, we're going to focus on a few other ones that are fairly important. New one here. And let's go ahead and add in. So you already know what haste does now, so that's done. So we said Blue Beetle, Amanda Waller. We'll do Wonder Woman for the block down. You can check out Lex. I believe we said we'll do Lex. He does grant immunity, which we already saw immunity, so we don't need Lex actually for this one. Let's do somebody else here. Let's do Firefly for vulnerability as well. And we can do, what do we have here? A couple of reds. I think that pretty much covered all the buffs I wanted to talk about. So these guys will probably perform everything you need to see. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else here that I want to add that we haven't talked about. You know what? We'll just add Lex for now. Actually, no, we'll do Cersei. We'll do her converting buffs over converting debuffs into buffs. Okay, so you'll see that happen. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. Okay. So you can see here, greens are no longer going to be it. We're going to try to build reds now and going to build purples to get Amanda Waller the buffs and blues as well. So there's a blue right there. We want to get that. We want to get Blue Beetle's barrier up as fast as we can. Okay, so here we're going to do this one first. So you can see here, this opponent now, we highlight him, block is decreased by 30%. Okay, so great against tanks. This really, he didn't need it. It should have been done on this unit. So remember to choose the actual unit you want to do the buff on. So we'll do Cersei's. You can see her special here. Flips all buffs to debuffs, causes barrier as well for everybody. So we'll actually save that one for now. Let's go ahead and do some more damage here. Build up a little bit more, and then we'll do a buff hopefully soon with Amanda Waller. Oh, they locked her down. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Lockdowns aren't the worst thing in the world right now. Okay, we'll have a barrier shortly up, and you guys can see what barrier does if you haven't seen it before. Okay, so vulnerability is about to pop, so let's do that first. So you can see here now, this person has attack up and defense up, vulnerability didn't stack, but there, you have it on this opponent. Vulnerability, enemies always have color advantage against this character, regardless of the color relation. So this little pattern here no longer matters when somebody has vulnerability. Everything will do damage. Okay, so here, let's go through this, and I'll show you guys what these buffs do. So heal over time on herself, heals 5% of HP each turn. Attack up on the primary color is 25%. Crit up is by 25%. So incredible buffs. And there's 6 turns, guys. She's a 3-star. So let's do this now. Let's flip all of the buffs into debuffs. You would have normally seen that, but we got a barrier now. You can see here, if you click on it again, you don't get to see what the barrier is, but her barrier actually gives, I believe it's max of her HP by what, 10? 6% of her max HP and 1% for each buff applied. So we have what, 2 buffs. So that gives you 8% of her max HP as barrier. Now she'll be able to absorb damage. Now everybody should be doing way more damage. Now you saw the critical just happened right there because we have that buff on. So you see crit, strong, right? Amanda Waller is an absolute beast, guys. So definitely build her. She's going to do so much for you so far into this game. And you don't want to sleep on her as a unit, right? And also remember, 6 turns is a lot. So as you level up her special, she's going to be doing even more and more buffs. So you can see here, I'm going to do it again, get all my buffs back. She does damage. Let's do this, kill this opponent. And then you can see how vastly underpowered my team is in comparison to the opponent, right? But either way, still getting away with pretty good attacks here. Got to make sure I get a barrier up for everybody. I don't have a healer. right? So that's kind of a problem in itself. I was just trying to show you guys buffs. So normally I'd run a healer with this team just to make sure this team can survive, more importantly, right? So let's see if we can still finish it though. Okay, so this guy has a barrier, this guy has, so let's try to take that barrier out first. Okay, it's not a lot of damage as you guys saw there. Okay, so let's try to get, let's do this, get Amanda Waller back up. We want to get that buff going as soon as possible, right? So Waller, let's do red for Wonder Woman. I want to get that barrier out of the way. Let's get vulnerability in. Okay, and then build this up. Okay, that guy's barrier is almost gone. But you can see how much damage these guys are doing, right? They're doing quite a bit. So it's important to have a barrier up at all times just to keep yourself, especially if you're not running a healer like this team isn't, it's important to have a barrier at all times. Like you literally will save your life through crunch time, especially without heals. Because some of you guys won't have a healer. If you don't want to run Enchantress, some people don't. I don't know why, because she's a great healer, but some people won't want to run her. And if you're not going to run a healer, you're going to need to have yourself a good barrier there. So there you go. See all the damage they just did? That's insane damage right there. Let's build this up here. Let's kill somebody. There we go. So I got 4 enemies left. I'm not sure if I'll be able to finish this, to be honest with you guys, but let's find out. See, some of my units are a little underpowered here. This is not my main team, obviously, right? Let's do this. Get Amanda Waller back up. Okay. I don't have Firefly left anymore. Okay. See if I can kill this guy off. There we go. Wonder Woman took him out. Good job. Now let's see if I can get another barrier up real quick. There we go. So the guy has 2 turns left, 2 opponents left. I might be able to actually get this done. Let's see. Do this. Build Waller back up. You don't want to lose that buff, right? Try to keep it up as much as you can, obviously. Damage in. I don't really have much to work with right now because my Firefly died, unfortunately. So let's try to build up Wonder Woman again. The guy's almost dead. It's great. Okay, try to get Blue Beetle, a barrier going, or Cersei's barrier. Should be ready. Oh, she didn't get any power there. That sucks. Yeah, she was on lockdown, so no power there. Let's see. Okay, there's 3 opponents left here. Now we got our buff back. See if I can Blue Beetle myself real quick. There we go. Got everybody a barrier again. Now you want to just get yourself in a position to finish this. So Wonder Woman is going to be, you can see here there's a bug, by the way. It's I think it's been identified many times that when you use a special, sometimes the special stays even though you don't actually have a special bar. Don't worry, it does build. You can see there it does go away eventually. It is a bug though that should be kind of fixed and taken care of. Hopefully they do fix it eventually. But there you go, guys. Really underpowered. Only going to get 2 stars here, but that's okay. We'll go back and finish it with the main team. And that completes it. So there you guys go. There's all the buffs and debuffs explained. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. I will be doing the top 3-star characters, 4-star characters, and 5-star characters very shortly, so you guys know who to focus on. All right, guys, this is Payne. I'll talk to you in the next one.